All right, and we are live. What is up, everybody? I am here with Hoffman, Lee Hoffman, the Hoffmanton Post, which I put in there just to try to get your name into this Dragobox thing because I think Dragobox kind of sells it short. I think that this is the way to play Dragon. I'm gonna make myself a little bit smaller here so people can see the list a little bit more. Um, I think it's almost no question. Like, just to be honest, I think this is just sort of like the way to play Dragon now. You got to be fast. You got to be aggro. You're doing what other decks can't do. You can outspeed them. You can out aggro them. But unlike Colorless, which is the other best aggro deck, you can actually snipe as well. So just wanted to get a little bit of an introduction here to Lee. If you guys are new to GLC, this is probably not the Dragon deck you're used to. You might be used to fast call and things like that. And so I wanted to start with an intro that shows why I think this deck has some serious potential. And it's because here I ran 30 sample sizes on Limitless Tabletop to see what are the odds if this deck is going second and can hit the turn 160 snipe with the what's Raiku's name? Ancient Raiku's name? Raging Bolt? Yeah, Raging Bolt. Yeah. And it's 50%. So 15 of the games we hit it and the other 15 we didn't. And honestly, it would have been even more than that, but 3 of the games, maybe 4, the bolt was just prized. Yeah, 4 of the games, the bolt was prized. And then I noticed there wasn't a Hisuian Heavy Ball. So, like, it's funny because for 3 of those games I had Peony. I'm like, no, Lee, if you had the Hisuian Heavy Ball, no. But honestly, it just goes to show you can play this Disruption, you can play other things, and you still hit the 60 your first turn if you're going second 50% of the time. So that's a little bit of the introduction to the deck. And Lee, how the heck did you get started playing cards? How did you find this deck? Tell me everything about your background here.
Well, I started playing. I've always quote unquote collected, but I didn't start actually playing the game until like I seen this Unbroken Bonds commercial.
Oh, wow.
Charizard GX, and I thought that was like pretty cool. The Melmetal, Lucario, all that stuff. That kind of got me back to opening packs, and then I found a couple cards that I liked in there, and I was like, man, let me see what I could do. At first, I had no idea like the rules or the parts of a turn, etc. But I would say like 2017, 2018, I'm pretty sure is when that came out. Maybe it was a year or two before, but that's when I initially got back into like playing the game. GLC, I started a little bit later.
Yeah.
Probably a year or so after the introduction to the format.
What got you into it? Was that the Lugia format for you? I'm just trying to think about a year after.
Lugia, I want to say there was Palkia or something like that.
Oh, yeah. The Shady Dealings and Palkia. Oh, no kidding. You played the turbo version? I can't believe that. The trekking shoes and the Crobat? No chance.
No, absolutely. Yeah, there was like 4 boss, 4 shoes. You just, you got down to business for sure. The Luminion. Yeah, that deck was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one was great. I guess that's kind of a good segue. Have you always liked to go fast in terms of GLC too?
Yeah, for the most part. I was always like fascinated with like doing lots of damage or just like running through my deck as quick as possible with like turbo stuff. Like I said, I was introduced with cards like Welder and stuff, so I'm like, oh, this is just like how the game is played. You know, you celebrate a couple energies, draw some cards. Like, what more could you ask for? And so like that's kind of always been like my philosophy because that's just like what I was, thrown into the fire with.
Yeah. And what was your first deck that you made in GLC? Was that one a turbo one too? I know you're kind of known for the Amazing Cups before the Raikou was banned, and then you went to this Ancient Raikou.
No, actually my first GLC deck that like I remember maining was the Amazing Kyogre deck with the Melodic Battle Compressor, all that fun stuff. The what's it called? I don't remember, but does 80 damage to everything.
Yeah. And that was in the same set as Raikou. It was like an amazing rare Kyogre, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that was the first deck that I played and whatnot for GLC. I also early stages I built a metal deck.
Oh, interesting.
Like, ish, but I mean I guess that's just metal by nature. And there was a weird grass list that I played. I think it was just like a damage reducing one as well. I don't remember too many details, honestly. I got rid of both of those, just like building other stuff naturally when other stuff came out, because I only had access to like 3 shells, and I know GLC was cheap and everything, but I just didn't. I didn't have it all like that, so I was just taking stuff apart, putting stuff together. Then Kyogre got banned, and then I'm like, okay, now I've got to really evolve and adapt, because I had taken my 2 previous shells apart to that point, and then my pet deck got banned. So I had to advance.
And then, so did you go right from the Kyogre to the Raikou?
No, I played a bunch of different kind of stuff. After that, I think one of the other decks I gravitated towards was the Crobat that takes 3 prizes.
Yeah,
I had a bunch of silly stuff in. Yeah, I had like the Absol that move damage around, like a whole bunch of just weird stuff going on, and everything sounds great until it gets gusted, but it was a lot of fun to play.
I am still trying to make that thing work, honestly. I was, what's funny is we were talking about these...
No worries, dude. I keep looking over because, yeah, I have your stream pulled up to my right, so if I keep looking over, I'm just like looking at your screen to see see what everybody else is looking at.
Yeah, your volume was lower, and now it's hotter, so I was typing in at the same time.
No worries.
I totally know what I'm doing. But, dude, I'm working on the Crobat, too, for... Well, actually, I sent you that list in Discord a while ago, but I was working on like a toxic donk deck, and I used the same kind of sheet where, but I got the sample size up to 52 because I was just kind of messing with it. So I got the donk rate up to 65%, but I needed a way to close the game. It's like, okay, if the Crobat works, then that solves half the prizes. It didn't work, so I'm back to the drawing board. But I'm obsessed with that Crobat. I still try to fit into everything because it only takes 1 energy attach. It's like us with the Wug Trio, right? It just takes the reversal or the triple acceleration.
And then you're in there. You're in the paint, right? No, I'm kind of on the same train right now. I'm building my girlfriend a psychic deck, but the theme is it has to have all fairy Pokemon in it.
Oh,
and
nice.
The best thing that I've came up with, and I'm like really bent on making it work, is the Togekiss, the new one that roll for the extra prize, and then the Clefable where you attack for 50, you knock it out, takes another prize. So I have the Muscle Band Kukui in there, and I'm just like trying so hard to make it work, and it's really funny when it does, but it's I share some of the same sentiments.
Dude, with that one, you
even
could
in
almost get away.
Psychic, it's really hard to make it work.
I was gonna say, but you could even get away with running no psychic energy. That you could do the double.
Yeah, no, I had a reversal in there and everything. You can go reversal for Kukui or like Goose Hollow for the Muscle Band and reversal. So that's like you can kind of just get in there for real. You don't even need the Gallade to go search out some stuff. Sometimes you can like other cards. Find the cards that you're looking for that particular combo.
That Psychic's one of the least explored because people get so obsessed with Gallade. You really don't need it. That's one of the things where I think Lost Box got solved a lot quicker than the other stuff because people didn't hyper focus on it. And that's sort of like a general theme for your decks too, is you just sort of do what other people aren't doing. Like, how the heck did Dragobox come to be? Like, were you just looking to make as low of a basic count deck without having the evolutions? Because you were playing this back in a time where Gallade's the perfect example. You were playing the stage 2 Dragonite with Fast Call. You cut that like right out. Like, how did you sort of land on this idea of having the low basics with the room for the other item cards in the turbo?
Yeah, so I used to play stage. I used to play three stage twos in one dragon deck. I used to play the fast call and the Garchomp, obviously, but I also used to play with the Gumi Gudra
Oh
technology.
yeah, that's right.
And over the course of 100, 200, I don't know how many games I played with the deck, but prizing like the Pokemon line specifically was always a problem. So I wanted to try to stream, I don't know like what the right word for it is, but like have better variants, like if candy and stage one is prized, like it's like kind of all she wrote.
Yeah.
Even if you use Gladian per piece, by that time that you are able to utilize everything, it's too late. And with faster cards in the format and whatnot, I think that basics just in general, like if you can do good things with them, like have a good engine, which I think the item energy excel engine,
Yeah.
where you see cards you play from the deck with Silene or with Mallow and Cypher Maniac, and you play from the discard pile with Silene and Recycle, and you're able to just cherry pick any card you want, basically any points in the game. Accelerating the energy to basics and stuff is just like the strongest thing you can do, in my opinion. And that's kind of where like I said, the strength in the deck is just you're able to do stuff other types can't faster than other types do. The origin for it, however, specifically, you know, I got to give credit to Baba. We were just playing all night, going through countless archetypes, whatnot. I was telling him, I got into talking about the item builds and stuff, and he was like, "Well, check this out." And he basically had the item shell for Dragobox, or what we knew as Dragobox, but it has stage twos and stuff in it.
Okay.
He had the fast call, the Garchomp. So that's really where the idea came from. We just had a big difference in philosophy, I guess,
Yeah.
because I had so many reps up at that point with the stage two builds, and I'm like, yo, I just want to do something fresh. If I don't have these stage twos, that's when I can have room for the turbo patch, the max elixir. We don't have to have rare candies, so we can add this or that. And oh, hey, we can run 6 Pokemon, so now we have 8 more slots, 9 more slots.
Yeah.
To really just be broken.
It really expands upon itself too, because then the less Pokemon you have, the less search you need too. It really just expands upon
Oh,
itself.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I believe there's like 4 search in my deck, if that. I don't run VIP pass anymore, none of that stuff.
You don't need it.
So yeah, like you said, like low count, low search, you have a room for a lot of tech. That's what that equation is.
Yeah, and it shows. I mean, you still have a 50% chance of hitting the turn 1 attack and a snipe attack at that. That's not even counting how much of the percent within that 50 you can hit the 90. It was a fair amount. I wish I kept track. But you have the Elixir hit or the Reshiram on top of getting the DDE. And one of the biggest...
I was going to say, there's lots of scenarios, man. Like originally, when I had first seen Kirim, like I was justifying it to myself that I can do it first turn going second if everything went right.
Yeah.
Because you could Turbo Blaze into Max Elixir, into Brispin, into DDE. There's like just absolutely feral things you can do.
You give up the
everything
sushi
snowballs.
So that counters live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just absolutely crazy things you can do within the engine. Once you open up once you start the engine, it's hard to turn off.
I found
sometimes half the battle is finding stuff. Sometimes like that's one time or one thing that's obviously weakness is you only have 6 with the limited search, so you're giving up like the ability to fully bench out on your first turn, but you're going to be able to do some incredibly busted things.
Oh yeah. Hey,
once you get the engine started.
Appreciate that. Love your content that you've been doing on other channels. Sorry to interrupt. We're here with Lee Hoffman, who's we're interviewing on Dragobox. I know PokeDubs, you're a bit of a mixed Pokemon streamer. This is Gym Leader Challenge, and I believe we've talked about it a little bit on your stream, but for those of you that are new to Gym Leader Challenge, it's a singleton type. So this deck list you're looking at here plays 6 Pokemon, all of which are dragon types that were printed in the last, 12 years or so? And this is a turbo version. So funny enough, this would be really similar to Raging Bolt. That's actually in standard. It's sort of a go fast, I'm going to attack, I want to go second, and just blitz you and run you off the board kind of deck. So this baby Raging Bolt, very similar to Raging Bolt in standard, except it can also snipe, and 60 snipe is huge in our format. But welcome in, everybody. Thank you for the raid. But yeah, I feel like taking out the rare candy and stuff, this is kind of funny, but Recycle is admittedly almost a better card, because wanting to play Recycle to be able to recycle the double dragon energy will be true for every game. But right now we're experimenting with a Dragobox version that has a 1/1 Garchomp in it, and the experiment's not going well because when you set it up, it has a better matchup in the colorless, but it only sets up 33% of the time. And so, is it worth it then? Because that's 4 deck spaces. You know, we still have the Max Elixir, but then that's not the Recycle. That's not the some of the other kind of coin flip ones that, to what you said, can actually really make the difference. So, I think that's where there's a strength that you really identified here. I know, like you said, like because Bob has a mastermind of decks, and I know he had some of these engines. Hey, thank you for subscribing, Rotom. But there's just that matter of like, how do we make it work and go as fast as it can? And I guess that'd be my question for you too, is when did you feel like you kind of first started to solve the deck? I know for me, you kind of got my attention from an outsider when you won a full grip badge with it. I think for a lot of us, that's probably when you're like, oh, that's a wake up call. But for you, when did you feel like you're like, this is my deck, I created an archetype and this thing works? Like when did you have that aha moment for yourself?
So when I was theory crafting with Baba and whatnot, I had like put all the cards aside, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make this work, whatever. I slept on it. The next time I played, it was tabletop with my buddy, and I kind of just threw a bunch of stuff together. But the one thing I took away, like right away, especially in the early variants, was just the strength of the item engine. Being able to see so many cards. I think you touched a little bit on it with the Recycle Silene, but those cards are like really, really flexible also. You can get the double dragon back, sure, but you can get back like the luxurious cape, you can get back the Max Elixir. If your hand shot, you could recycle for like Crispin or, you know, whatever you need to follow up with. That, I guess, like, I mean, it sounds weird, but like it really clicked right at first. Yeah. It was just a matter of like finding the right cards after that. Because at first when I won full grip, Raging Bolt was not out yet. I was playing with the other ancient guy, Koraidon.
That's right.
Yeah, I was playing with Koraidon, and there was only 5 Pokemon in the deck at that point.
Yeah, you're
and we had some really janky stuff in there. Now the list is more streamlined towards strong supporters, but at first it was a lot more geared towards item draw. With you know, I know you see Bicycle in the list now, but there was like Acro Bike, Trek Shoes, even Custom Catcher. We had both stacking cards with Cypher Maniac and Mallow, and then both cards to play from the discard pile in Silene Recycle. So I guess like the philosophy was always just get in the paint, but as better cards were printed, like the archetype just really got to a point where we could like easily play it and be like, okay, this is the optimal 60 now. And that's also a big credit to everybody that I play and test with. You know, Ghouls specifically. I give Ghouls almost as much credit as I give myself with this specific archetype. The latest 2 or 3 iterations of the deck, the variants, I should say.
I see some
Ghouls has had his Ghouls has had his hands in
he's a control
everything.
Head. And oh my goodness, I definitely see some ghouls in here with that the Faba technology, the enhanced hammer. I think that is such a cool inclusion because it like lets you guys go aggro, but also have disruption at the same time.
Mhm.
Because I think my experience with the deck, I've played a lot. I've probably played like 50 games with it, but I don't have the same kind of inside knowledge because I do have the curse of playing like other things. It's not my main deck. But for me, my hardest matchup has been colorless. I don't know if that's exactly the situation that you're running into, but the fact that you can have the room for the enhanced hammer and Faba feels huge. And to close the loop on a conversation from a couple conversations ago, we were talking about the Curum. That's when I got really excited for this level of Dragon because I realized it's possible to power up the Curum. But then for me personally, when I realized I was still losing the colorless matchup, even if I got the Curum off, it's like, well, that's not worth the investment. Then I just kind of want to
Yeah.
outpace them and try to find other ways to do it. Are you finding that the enhanced hammer and the Faba, is that there for the colorless matchup, and how's that been helping you?
Yeah, obviously colorless, is the most oppressive best deck, or best type in format. And so I wanted to definitely be able to, knock off their passive attachments, have the Faba for the second tool removal has also been super clutch. Another big one too is I do it for fighting, funnily enough, because Okie Dogie, if you go turn one going second, like even if you like knock something out, if they attach to Dogi first turn going first, like that's a problem. And they can easily run you off the board with it because if you have to attack twice into it, even if you take a prize, you're like and the ability to recycle it really quickly, you really have to play cards that hate into your bad matchups. So I really like the hammer for colorless and fighting with Dogi specifically.
And then the
Silent Lab, Hex,
Yep.
obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say Silent Lab and Hex are great for that too. It's funny because they also serve other purposes because it turns off bench barrier, so that way you can also snipe. So if someone's playing bench barrier, you have two clear outs to just say no, you don't. Heck, you have more than that because you can Silene and recycle them back when you need to. So I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
sick,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Those are my favorite kind of techs when they don't take away from the consistency of your general game plan as well. Um, when did you start including them? Because you're right. I remember I saw this for the async playoffs. When did you start going the disruption route, or I think you called it the evil Lee or the control Lee or something like that?
Oh, I called it BC Hammer because of the ancient. You know what I mean? So it's like it's old. Yeah, a little play on words there. But anyway,
That's fantastic.
yeah, actually, like I know you think that goals might have talked me into the enhanced hammer, and Faba and that. I did that on my own accord, actually.
No way. That's crazy.
I was obviously inspired by him because up until yesterday, actually, like right before deck submission time for the Async League tournament, I was actually playing Plumeria over Silene. And I just like had to talk myself out of that because of the applications that we've talked about with Silene are just super strong.
Yeah.
I'm just going to trust the deck a little bit more and just lean a little bit more into the hammer and Faba, I guess. I don't like Plumeria is super funny and actually pretty good in the list, but I think Silene is just a card that I can't ignore for a playoff style tournament.
It's so flexible and it can work for so many of those things. I mean, it can turn into your enhanced hammer if you just flip one heads. Plumeria is interesting because the discard cards sometimes turns people away from it, but it's actually a benefit for you because you want to draw up to the fourth or Reggie Drago. So I could see that.
Yeah, like Plumeria into like recycle into draw with Drago, like you said, or with bicycle. That's absolutely foul. Being able to discard an energy and just like letting them, your opponent can't really hide from that and the bolt at the same time too. I found like you can't just like put something up to sacrifice. You can't just and then like attach to a bench guy. Even if I tap into you with bolt, like sometimes taking the knockout and then removing the energy taking knockout elsewhere, and then removing the energy from whatever they're trying to power up is like really good too, because you're able to like take their support and then make it less likely for them to return.
Yeah. So to that, now with these techs, what matchup are you the most afraid of, if any?
Ghouls, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I don't have, pokes top items in there, but a lot of my items just, and a lot of items in general, just allow you to play the game. If I'm not able to use those very early, or, if he starts blockading for 0 on me, and I can't Crispin, I can't Goose Holla, I can't, search for my energies or anything, that's when it gets really tough. When they slow the game down for us and we can't do things on like our own accord.
Yeah.
So controls is definitely a little rough.
That gets actually into a bit. Well, no, sorry. Finish your thought. What other matchups are you kind of like, I'd rather not hit that, if there's any other ones?
I wouldn't love to play against Wales. I mean, I think I can do it, but I wouldn't love that.
Is the Wales matchup sort of just you want to run them over before they set up?
Yeah. You want to lost city, the Sobble or the Whalmer like as soon as you can, or just snipe Gust, whatever you can. You really have to, you really have to just hope they don't have it, kind of thing. And I would kind of say colorless to an extent, even though we have like really solid counterplay and being able to snipe the squirrel and return the Snorlax pretty consistently with Druddigon or Regidrago, whatever it may be. Colorless is definitely tough. I don't really want to see Whales either, but other than that, I'm not really afraid of no ghosts.
No, yeah, that makes sense. And that does go into something else I wanted to ask you, because I always just like to ask other people that play the format as much as I do, because we're a bit of a rare breed, But what do you think is like your top 5 GLC types or decks if you were to do a tier list?
Colorless is one. I think water or dragon is 2, honestly. I'm not really, I mean, that's my bias, but I think that dragon's like really in a great spot, and is only going to get better. Water kind of like feels solid, but like we know what it we know what it is. We know how strong it is, how versatile. But I would probably put water 2, dragon 3, psychic maybe 4, and 5. Oh gosh,
maybe control.
I'm not even sure, honestly.
I noticed control was the first thing you mentioned. I mean, ghouls specifically, but if we're talking like a skilled person on control, that's the first thing you said you didn't want to hit. So maybe that's up there.
Yeah. So I would just put grass and ghouls up there by default. Like just as being the best thing that you can be doing is control nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny that, I mean, regular grass is so mid. It's fun to try to push it to the topic and go, and I don't think that's the Venusaur version. I think that is things like the Cherim, or just like other things like that. But it's still so mid compared to the other types, and it's just funny to see that arguably the best control deck is in that mid type. I love when that kind of happens. Kind of the same way that fighting used to be such a bad type before Okidogi, and Costella brought that up to be one of the best and won so many tournaments with it. In some ways, what you did with Dragon too, because people thought Dragon was pretty good, but back in just the fast call days before Raging Bolt, people weren't putting it fourth. Or I think Dragon's better than Water, honestly. And I'm more scared of Dragon. It's probably because I play another setup deck, but I'm more scared of Dragon than Water when I'm sitting across.
Well, that's why I even consider it up there, like with Water, right? Because Water's so good, it does all these things, but like we're talking about like on a stage 1, on a stage 2, we're talking this whatnot. With Dragon, you just throw 6 of them boys in there and get in the paint.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a mid-range player, but Water and Psychic stocks are going woo down, and some of it is cold because I just had to play against Hops Colorless because my wife loves Colorless and Dragon. She's an aggro player, and I'm a mid-range player, so it's great testing for me. But gosh, but it used to feel like a pretty 50-50 matchup. It's just it's gotten harder and harder. And I think we talked about this a little bit beforehand, but you said you haven't tried the hops colorless stuff yet.
No, I haven't.
Oh my
Not
God,
yet.
I'd love to see your brain on that. It's insane. It feels like
Yeah,
a whole
I
different game.
honestly haven't really even looked too much like at any of the new cards that have came out. I've just been like hyper focused on the stuff that I've been doing, focusing in on the playoffs specifically, grinding out these last couple weeks for trying to get a first round bye. So admittedly, I don't open any packs at all. The only packs I open actually are prize packs.
Yep.
Shout out to my LGS. They give me 2 every Sunday, but like literally, I don't open any other packs.
No.
I just like have to hope I trade or buy some singles when I got a couple dollars on my card.
Yep.
Off TCG player.
I'm always looking for some hot singles in my area. I'm never opening packs. I remember getting a booster box of Paldea, whatever the one is with Iono and Reversal Energy. I was so excited for that set because it's like, again, mid-range players. So it's like, oh, comeback mechanics are coming back into standard. I didn't pull any Reversal Energy or any Iono. That was over a year ago. I swore off packs after that. Like, I'm done.
I think the last thing I bought was like an ETB of Shrouded Fable, and that was like literally like on release day or like a day after. And yeah, so I don't know how long that's been out, but yeah, that was the last time I opened a pack from an actual set, I believe, or like bought a pack from actual set because I've been gifted packs before. But
It's the best. Yeah.
as far as spending my hard-earned money, I'll just buy some singles.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of other things. Before we go to a close, if you guys have any questions, make sure you ask them in the chat too if you're on Twitch or YouTube. I think one thing I want to point out that's really cool that's outside of the competitive side of GLC, and I'll put competitive in quotes because we all play this like as gamers. Like we're both dads and just have fun with the format and everything. But I think one of the coolest things is how we got to know each other was from jumping into each other's streams to watch each other's games and then doing a card exchange too. I've only done that with one other person. And those cards got lost in the mail, unfortunately. Now I understand why you did it the way you did it through the way you can track it. There's a
it costs a couple bucks extra, but yeah, you gotta throw that thing in a bubble mailer because the mail nowadays is crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the coolest things because it was fun to bring the cards in to. We have our locals on Tuesdays and being able to just like. Everyone like knows each other because so many of my locals are tapped into Cardboard Warriors at this point because we all are in a race for the badge. Right now, it's been 3 weeks, and each badge and each type is from a different person. So like we're pretty competitive locals, and we like to go into Cardboard Warriors. So it was cool because no one's like, "Oh, who's Lee?" That was the craziest thing is having a room of 15 people and they all say, "Oh, Lee wants to get this signed." I think that's one of the coolest things is even if not everyone is active on posting in Cardboard Warriors, more people might see your stuff than you realize. We did have a post come in here.
That is a crazy feeling. Like I had not known that, and it is cool because like up until this point, like we haven't even like talked like we've talked like you said like in messages, but like I've never like talked to you face to face or anything.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So like yeah, it's super cool to like personable kind of feel, like just knowing that people know me, like like you said, just from like watching my stream or just like seeing me type in GLC discussion or something. Like it's just an insane feeling.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, and I probably see and go against Dragobox locally once a month, if not more. Like that's conservative. Like the exact whatever the 60 is. Love it. DJ Backwards in particular. We'll take it a lot. We have a question here from Ghouls, and he says, "Who do you think is going to win the async playoffs?"
I think Lee Hoffman has a shot. I don't know.
I hear he's pretty good. He's no scrub.
Yeah. I mean, I know he just got the 2 seed, but I think he can come out on top. No, I think Ghouls will win again, honestly. Eggmill is just absolutely feral. That deck can do everything. And I know you guys had, a stream where you guys talked about and everything, so I'm not going to say too much else, but I got my money on Ghouls.
I think voting on your team is good. Ghouls says he has his money on you, too. And actually, speaking of the team, that's a good place to put any shout outs that you want to give.
Man, everybody from the know. I want to shout out Ghouls, Spence, man, Baba for the inspiration with Dragon. I want to shout out Tomb for, you know, testing hundreds and hundreds of games with me before I even had the confidence to take it on stream. Like even you, DJ, but like there's so many. It's funny because a list like this, like it looks just like, you know, a pile, and to a point it is, but there's so much personality in the deck and like inspiration from other people. It's a really beautiful thing to see. Yeah, just shout out everybody that I've been interacting with. It's been a long time coming for the deck to get to the point where it was. I mean, I know I won full grip and all that, but you know, the refinements recently, going 16-0 in async, like that is the stamp where it's like, okay, like we figured it out, guys.
Yeah.
And I can't thank them guys enough for, you know, putting up with test games with me where I'm just, you know, just dumping all over them with Ragey Bolt and you know, them being good sports about it, giving me constructive feedback. You know, I really wouldn't be able to have made like the refinements and had the success I've had without these guys.
That's great, and I really love to hear that. I think the refinements show. I'm a huge person of you can't argue with results. A 16-0 record, winning, you know, the birthplace of GLC. It just goes to show that it's real. I think Pokemon as a community is kind of shit at recognizing creators of deck archetypes. Most of us are also humble to mention who helped us with this and that. But I want to be very clear that this engine is from Lee, and so we like definitely should give him credit. And that if you're new to GLC, seriously, just take this list, go to Limitless Tabletop. I don't know if you guys know you can do this, but just like hit this new game thing, and it's amazing. Like this hand, you start this guy, you have this Guzma Hala, you have Double Dragon, boom. If it's turn 2, you do it. There's your Double Dragon. You can get,
and even if it's turn 1, getting an attachment turn 1 going first is almost as good as doing that too, because then it's like, okay, like cool, you can set up, but like, can you really set up? Because you're going to at that point when you start Bolt, you could grab like Silent Lab and they can't even like hide with Bench Barrier or anything, and you'll be able to snipe anything that evolves. Amen. Basically all the good support Pokemon at least.
And so many of your things are good starters too. So if you have something like this, the Reshiram with the Air Balloon, this hand might at first look kind of weird if you don't know the deck. This hand is fine. I mean, not only are you chilling with the Pokegear, but the Volkner, just being able to grab an item will get you out of there. And you have so many good starters in the deck, and that's an underrated thing. But if you look at it, half your Pokemon you want to open. You have the Tatsugiri, the Reshiram, and Regidrago. You kind of have more than that, because honestly, if you start the Raging Bolt, you're still chilling too. So 4 out of 6 of your Pokemon are good starters, and that is really underrated. Numbers don't lie. If you look at the statistics, that is why this deck hits so often, and you can tech into things. So I'd say if you guys are just new to the deck and you haven't tried it, even if you don't play like with friends or something, seriously, just you can kind of solitaire this deck a little bit. You can put this on Limitless Tabletop and then annoy your friends with a Snipe 60 turn 2. But thank you, Lee. This was awesome to have you here, and really just wanted to get the deck out there because it's one of the most fun ways to play it. I always called it Rainbow Dragon because I think energies are one of the prettiest things to deck out. Look at it, you get to play 5 different types of energies. That's why I always called it Rainbow Dragon. From now on, I'm calling it the Huffington Post, so that way we can just get your name in there. But seriously, y'all, if you haven't played this is one of the funnest decks in GLC, so give it a try. And thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. It was a pleasure to be on and finally get to talk to you.